makers. Welcome to Always Yarn First, a podcast about knitting, crochet, spinning, and all the yarny goodness in between. I'm Lindsey, and I'm coming to you from Little Rock, Arkansas. And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Always Yarn First. Welcome, everybody. Today is Saturday, September 16th, and we have quite a few things to talk about, including the retreat that I was at last weekend. So before we get into the episode, a few notes, including make-alongs. So I currently have two going on. One is all year with my friend Lori from Arkansas Yarn Co. It is the hashtag nothing but double. It is a make-along for any blankets, any size, crochet, knit. All you have to do is hold yarn double. So you can hashtag that, or you can go to Arkansas Yarn Co. Ravelry group page and post your finished objects. The second one is just for the month of September, so we're halfway done with the month, and I am doing a make-along with my friend Nicole of ProfPurl or ProfPurl on Instagram. We are doing the hashtag fall shawls, y'all, for any shawls. They could be a work in progress before September 1st, as long as they were under halfway done. So we are doing that, and for that, for finished objects, you can go on my Ravelry group page and post those pictures. I also have another one that will be starting October 1st, so just to let you know, in case you want to get ready for it, I am co-hosting another make-along, this one with 3 friends. This one is the hashtag Stripe Along 2023. This will go from October 1st through December 31st, and you get it. It's going to be stripes. Whether you are making the stripes with scraps or your own stash or whatever, or you buy self-striping yarn, it can be anything, and more details will come on that starting the 1st of the month. But I am co-hosting that with Kimber's Crosy Creation, who has yarn dyed up on pre-order right now. Happy Little Yarn, who's Amy, and Jessalyn Janice, JJ. So all them 3 lovely ladies and I are going to be hosting on a different social media per se. I'll be on Ravelry, Kimber will be on Discord, Amy will be in a Facebook group, and Jessalyn will be on Instagram. So no matter which medium you like to use, there's a way for you to enter for prizes. And like I said, that's going to go for 3 months. All right, so let's get into the episode. This is episode 46. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you stick around for a while. Every episode, I like to name off a song because before my love of yarn was my love and obsession with music. I love most genres of music, so I like to pick a song that's fitting for my mood or my making, and I have a Spotify playlist with every song title of every one of my episodes below if you would like to follow that playlist. So this week, the song is Biutyful by Coldplay. Kind of a different spelling if you're looking for it. It's Biutyful. Just because I was trying to think of a song that kind of summed up last weekend. If you've been here a while, you know that I went to the Arkansas Yarn Co. first ever retreat, and it was amazing, and we are going to talk about it. So I will go through the usual stuff. We have no finished objects this week. I do have a cast on. We'll go into whips, acquisition, future makes, a couple of podcast highlights, and then to end, I will talk more in detail about the Weekend with Friends retreat, what we all did and how it was. So if you'd like to skip around, I will have timestamps below that you can feel free to do that. All right, I'm not wearing any knitting today. I don't have any finished objects. So what did I cast on? All right, so a few weeks ago, I had talked about that I went to Maine with Lori and Jessa to Rich Mountain Fiber Co. And that was the first time going into Missy's store. And I was looking around. I ended up buying some Moondrake yarn, which I still haven't broke into yet. But I had found a skein that Missy had dyed that I just adored the colors, and I was holding it, and Lori was in her crazy making of all of the tank tops in every color. And she saw the yarn I was holding, and she's like, well, where did you find that one? I'm like, it's the only one left. But she really wanted to make the Summer Secret Crop by Jessie Mae Design out of it. So I let her have it. But she made that tank top, and she had the remains with her. So this is what she had left. I didn't even weigh this. Actually, I have my little scale here. Let's see what we have on here besides what I've already got on my needles. Right here, this is about 18 grams here. But she said I could have the remnants of it. So I'm like, okay, I'll just make shorty socks with it. So I cast on while I was at the treat, just making some vanilla socks. So I cast on and did 5 rounds of ribbing because I don't know how long this is going to last me. So I'm literally going to knit this whole thing into a tube, finish with the 5 rounds of ribbing again, and then I will cut, put toes in, and then I will cut again and put heels in with a different color. So I'm ecstatic. I'm going to get socks out of this anyways, which is what I wanted. But I love how it's striping up. It's so fun. It reminds me of like a sunset. So yeah. And I don't have the colors because she didn't have the tag. She literally just had this thrown in a bag. And I'm pretty sure I contacted Missy, and I'm pretty sure she said that she thought it was Florida Sunset is the colorway, which is pretty much right on there. So that's the only new thing I have cast on. So let's get into whips. All right, the first one I have touched in the last few weeks is in one of my woolly bean bags. Juanita's bags. And this is my Montpellier top. So I'm just kind of going along on the body. I'll kind of hold it upward so you can kind of see where I'm at here. I will have to pick up for the neck and work that, but the arms are done. There's nothing you have to do after the fact. You just have this nice patterning around it, which continues down the side. So yeah, I'm just knitting down. Not much to see on this. I think, let's see. I'm just kind of going on what I feel will be the right length. Let's see what my measurement says here. It looks like right now I'm at 9 inches. Usually my go-to like comfort zone is like 13 to 15 inches. I don't like a cropped unless I know I'm going to be wearing it over a summer dress, but this is going to be on its own. And this yarn is the Sandnes Garn Tykk Lina. That's what it looks like. And this is the colorway Blue Hortensia. So yeah, this one, easy knitting, just pretty much knitting except for the side bands continue all the way down right there. Yeah, I'm enjoying it, but I'm really trying to get this done and off my needles. I've been kind of focused on the same 2 projects you've seen if you've been watching recently, and I'm kind of ready to get back to some projects that have been kind of pushed aside, cast on some new projects, so I'd like to get that one done and out of the way. So that kind of has been my TV knitting time. All right, so I have 2 projects in this bag. This is a bag by Puff Stitch Bag Co. This was a gift my friend Christy gave me, and I love this bag. It's so pretty. I love the fabric on the inside. It's giving me Lisa Frank vibes. All right, so this is housing the 2 projects. I am doing my Gritty Knits All Year Advent Mini Club. So I get this All Year Advent Club where essentially you get 2 minis each month. And they're always going to like fade together or gradiate together. I don't know which one's the right word. They're not really fading together, but they're always going to work in order with each other. So if you get it right now for next month and continue it for 6 months, those colors are going to work well together. So I picked 2 different projects to work on. And I just got my yarn from this Wednesday, I think. And I've already put it in both projects. So I'm literally now waiting for October Club, which is fine. So the first one I'm doing, I love this. One, I have picked a white color to work with the colors. Another one, I picked a black, which is kind of fun to look at the 2 different ones. So I'll hold it up like this. This is the Anesidora shawl by Lindsey Fowler. And I love it. So I was a club member from the beginning, which you had to be a subscriber of hers to get the club in August. And then Natasha gave me a bonus mini skein. So she gave me what she's calling a color 0. So I did little 3 of color 0. And then I'm just doing 2. So color 1 last month, color 2. And then this month was color 3 and color 4. This is going to be gorgeous. This pattern is really fun. There's not going to be any ends to weave in. You always cut your yarn when you get to this side and leave them, and then you'll tie them up and they'll just be tassels. So I'm loving how the colors look together. It is a very fun pattern. So comparatively to now, we're seeing the same colors. I just think it's kind of cool, the white versus black. So now I'm using a black with these colors, and I'm making the Litmus cowl. So this cowl is ingenious. You start with a provisional cast on. This is a free pattern, so I'm not giving any information away. You do color 1 of your, it is meant for an advent, so 24 minis. So you start with color 1 and then you do your, whatever your main color is. And I decided to do 12 rows of my advent color, 10 rows of my main, because this black is very black, so I'm doing a little bit less of the black. And the black is Knit Picks Gloss Fingering, just black is the colorway. So yeah, so again, color 0, color 1, color 2, and then this month was 3 and 4, and then I even did the black, so literally when I get October, I will start with the advent color. And again, the idea with this is it's just knit stitches. I'm sorry if you heard that. The cat got my daughter in the other room. She's okay. Anyway, so this one, you just knit stitch. You do the rounds, and when you cut them, if you don't want to weave in your ends, you could just tie them in a knot together. Because what this is, this cowl, you're knitting in the round, but it's gonna go back on itself and you're gonna seam it together, and that will be the cowl. So, and this, the next project you'll see sparked an idea of a design that I started. So yes, really enjoying this. So this, I decided to put them in the same project bag because I basically wait for the monthly advent, do the little bit of work, and then I put it away, not on my cart because I gotta wait for the yarn. So the next thing I'm working on is my design. It is in a black pearl magic bag. So I talked about before that Litmus cowl inspired me. I love the idea of working in the round, but yet then seaming it up. But I missed the texture part of it. That one is great because I get bored working just knit stitches, but that one, since I'm only adding 2 minis a month, by the time I'm done with it, I'm like, oh, I just put it away till next month. But I wanted to work with some texture. So I decided to make a cowl of my own. I am using a 12 mini skein set from Spotted Circus, and I am doing a texture. So I've made quite a bit of progress on this since the last time. I worked on this a lot at the retreat. So you see where my sheepy is. I've added all this. Now I'm into the purple. I kind of like the way it looks from afar like that. I think it looks kind of cool. So I'm doing a 4-row repeat, but I'm holding it double. Again with white. It is the Arkansas Yarn Co. Yummy Plush Wedding Cake, undyed. And the real pattern is how to hold the colors, when to hold the colors. So I'm doing everything with holding it, the color with white, to holding it with itself, to with the next color so that it blends, and so on. I think that looks super cool. So again, this will eventually seam up and become a cowl. I am also working on writing this pattern to work with the 24 skein, like Advent, so that it's available for Advent season. Like I said, this worked out where I had these 12 neons, and I just wanted it in something really bad. But then I thought, oh, we're getting closer to Advent season, and people are looking for patterns. And I thought, well, how fun would that be? So I need to just reconfigure the colors to fit comfortably the 24 minis, because if my calculations are correct, the way I'm doing the patterning right now with this one, it should reach about 56 inches when I seam it together, which I think is plenty long enough. I don't think it wants to be longer, so I need to kind of cut these sections to fit 2 colors instead of just all. Color 1 basically goes up to here. So from here to here has color 1 in it. So I need to half that to make it work 2 colors in each of those sections. So, but I love this. It is so fun. Like I said, 4-row repeat. It's a mindless, but yet still, I don't know if entertaining is the right word. Engaging pattern where I'm not bored with it. So yeah, I'm gonna move my sheepy up to where I'm at here. And I am loving it. So here's the color I'm currently working on. Here is the next color that will go in it. The other ones I still have to wind up. But yeah, I'm loving this. This is going to be very warm, but the texture, oh, it's so good. All right, so that will be hopefully a pattern release. Okay, what do I have left? I have my shawl. I had just cast on the last podcast. So for the fall shawls, y'all, I cast on a Hohi shawl because I'm also doing the Hohi cowl. So I cast on the Pure Joy. I took this to the retreat, but I did not work on it very much. So you see where my fireflies are. I am just getting ready to go into the next wedge. I just finished my short rows this morning. I had knit group on Saturday mornings, and I just finished the last short rows. So I'm getting ready to go back to my minty green. And the colors on that, the main color I'm using right here is Teenybutton Studio. The colorway is Island Getaway. And this one is Homestead Fibers in the colorway Paul. I love that color. That's pretty accurate. So yeah, I'm just chugging away at this. Again, you can see where I've given the most love, which is my neons. I think because the colors I love so much and the stitching is fun yet easy. I don't need to look at the pattern for it. So, but this one I do want to spend some time on. So I need to, like I said, I signed up for 4 projects on my Hohi Cowl, and this is the only one I've started. So this is in another woolly bean bag. She doesn't have a storefront right now, but she is occasionally making bags when she has time. She's focusing on homeschooling her kids. So if you follow her on Instagram, that's where she'll notify if she has bags available for purchase. All right. The next thing I've been working on. This is exciting because the end of the last podcast when I was talking about whips, I had mentioned but didn't show my Chevron Fade blanket. So the Chevron Fade is the blanket throw that I was working on for my year-long make-along with Lori for making blankets, holding yarn double. And I don't have the whole blanket here, but, and this just right now, I finished this and it curls up really bad. But basically this is just like a big long chevron. And then it has instructions where you pick up a main color and you go around this chevron and then you place them next to each other, put them together. And at the end, when you have all the pieces you want, then you do like an actual border around that. Well, again, this is a free pattern, so I'm not giving any information away. But the pattern, how it has you go around these, has you skipping stitches. But then the border pattern is like go in each stitch around. So one, I was confusing myself. For a few of them, when I did them, I was looking at the border where I was going in every one stitch around. It looked nice and neat. It was good. And then like some part of the process during the year, I was like, oh, I'm reading that wrong. That's the border. This, I'm supposed to be doing it this way. So I did a couple of them that way, and I just think it looked horrible. Now, I don't know if I wasn't doing it right or whatever, but I was going by the instructions, and you can see how wrinkly this is. Of course, I haven't blocked it, but it was just because I was skipping stitches, it was pulling it in a weird way, and it was making it look even worse. It basically looked like I did not know how to crochet. So I was super frustrated. It sat in the corner for months. I was 4 months behind. That's including the month of September. So, and it got to the point where I just didn't even want to work on it. I was just so mad. I had decided that I needed to just completely ignore the directions for these and just do the per one stitch, because those I really liked how it looked. It looked neat and clean. So I cut the yarn around all the other ones that I did the correct way and got rid of that yarn. So then I had all these pieces just laying here again. And my brain was just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So I was super frustrated. In the last podcast, I had talked about it. I didn't show it because, again, so frustrated. I didn't know how I was going to scrap the whole project. But then it's like, it's September. Am I really going to want to start fresh on a new blanket at this late in the year? I figured like I was just giving up completely on making it. Then my friend Allison, who is solely a crocheter. She does not knit. So the way we knit all the time, that's how Allison is with crochet. She's awesome and she's super fast. So she watched a podcast literally Sunday morning when it came out. And she's like, hey, I saw the podcast. If you want, I will do all your borders for you and attach them. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, I'll do them. No problem. And I'm like, done. I'll let you. So she has done all the borders up I gave her. I did one more month. So I was, let's see. I did up June. I already had June caked up. So I did up June real quick. So I gave her June along with the rest of the blanket. I put the months in order because I wanted to keep them in order of how I received them in the blanket. And I gave her my main color and let her go to town. So I was at her house Thursday and she was showing me and I'm like, they look fantastic. And I'm like, it wasn't just me, right? Like the directions did say to like skip stitches. She's like, yeah. And I don't know why you would. I'm like, okay. So it wasn't just like, I learned to crochet first, but I don't crochet as much as I do knit. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just not reading this right. Maybe I'm just not as skilled as crocheter. And she's like, no, that's what it said. You were doing it right, but it just did not make sense to do it that way. So I have since done July. Again, ignore the curling up. It will lay flat, but I love, so I was telling Lori too, the fun thing about yarn is sometimes when you see a skein, they're not colors that call to you. Not even the color, but just like the mix of colors. And I will admit, July and August colors were not my jam. But then you cake it up and it looks totally different because you're seeing how the colors are laying out, how they're going to go into your project. And then you knit or crochet with it. And again, it like looks totally different. So I love this one now. This is the I Am No Dragon. This was the month of the yarn crawl and Tristan was there. So the box was dragon themed. I love this color worked up. And then this was August. Something about sunsets. Again, wasn't my color. I'm not a super huge purple girl. So these both had, although this is coming across more blue than purple worked up. But here is the other one and it's beautiful. So all I have to work on, I don't think I have it on the card. I have September's caked up and I'm going to see Allison tomorrow. So my goal is today to get that chevron crocheted up today and give her these last 3. And hopefully before the end of the month, when I meet with Lori and we film, I will actually be like for real caught up. Like I can't even believe what a change in predicament since 2 weeks ago when I spoke about this project. So I am super, super excited about this. So yes, enough about that. Next time I show it, hopefully I'll have the blanket here and you can see how it's gonna come together. All right, so there's one more project I did, no real fanfare. I cast these socks on ages ago. This was like a purse project for a while. Again, I was just knitting a tube. We were going to some movies and I didn't want to put in a heel. So I was just like, I'm just going to keep knitting and knitting. This colorway, do I even have it? It is Tiny Human. And I've forgotten the colorway because I didn't write it down in my notes because I literally pulled it out the other day and it's called Confetti. Tiny Human Knits. The colorway is Confetti and just some miscellaneous blue from my stash that I did at the top there. So yeah, I'm just knitting this in the round, just making a tube. She does 50-gram skeins, which I love. So yeah, so I don't even know the last time I showed it, but there is a stitch marker in here. So I did make some progress on these vanilla socks. All right, and that's all of my making I have done. So there is no spinning. I did do a little bit of spinning at the retreat because I didn't teach a class on it, but I brought my e-spinner and some spindles for people to play with if they wanted to try it out or if they had questions. Because I'm not a professional, but I knew there was some that had spindles. I wanted to ask how they start, things like that. So I did spin a little bit while I was sitting there, but it's so little because I was mostly helping with spindle stuff. So there's nothing really to show on that. All right, so let's see here. No spinning. So now we are into acquisitions and future makes. So acquisitions. So you saw that I had my Gritty Knits monthly club of the minis. So I also got my monthly club at the same time of Gritty Knits Mystery Fiber. So here it is this month. Gritty. She doesn't name hers, just says September 2023. So I did just stop my subscription on this for now because I have so much that, and I haven't been spinning as much, so I need to catch up before I will resubscribe to this because I love this club, but I need to play some catch up before I can. All right, and then I got a couple things from Arkansas Yarn Co. See what I all have in here. All right, so I had a gift card to use. And Lori and my friend Christy are making the pattern Shayna Billows did. Something cozy. Thank you. Something cozy pullover. It uses Chelsea Luxe, her mohair held with boucle yarn. And I really love that pattern, but it really made me nervous because it's like 20 inches of positive ease. And I'm like, if I'm going to buy that much nice yarn and I don't want to spend the time making it and I really hate it, I'm kind of waiting to see Lori when she finishes hers and trying it on because we usually wear about the same size sweater and to see how it actually fits. But in the meantime, a new pattern, basically that pattern's cousin, it's called the Cozy Cardi, came out and it's by Shayna Billows again. And she uses, again, the same yarn, mohair held with the boucle. So I was at the retreat and I was talking to Lori about it. And I'm like, oh, this one I could do. But she didn't really have like the sweater quantities of Chelsea Luxe that I liked. And she suggested trying Loopy Mango and holding it single. So I just got one to show out, but I got a sweater quantity of this. So this is Loopy Mango Dream, 100% merino. This is 109 yards and the colorway is Moody Blue, which this is my favorite color, blue. So I am going to be making the Cozy Cardi with this. So I'm excited about that. Who knows when I'm going to start that. The other thing I got, it's in this bag, Lemon Wood, and it is a mini minder. So in this bag, you get 3 pieces. You get this, and you get this. And here is what you do. You hold your yarn. You need to find the middle. You put this in here. You put this on here. And then you clip this in. And now you can walk and knit. It takes from the outside and this spins. So you don't get caught up in your yarn. Don't get caught up in a bag. It is super awesome. There's lots of cute designs. Lori just got a restock in. I think it came in like 2 days ago. So there's different cute designs. I have the flowers design, if you like that one. So yeah, that's a cute little tool. And I like that it comes with a bag. So when you're not using it, you can easily put it away. It's just a nice tool to have. And you can switch up. what you have on there. So yeah, that is called the Mini Minder, if you're interested in that. All right, one other thing I got when I talked about doing spinning at the retreat, and there was 2 ladies that were specifically interested in spindle spinning. So then they each had their own spindles. They had their own spindles and a little bit of fiber. They just were confused of how to start. So one of the ladies had a Turkish spindle. I didn't bring my spindle over here. My spindle is like a wooden stick dowel with a little spinning thing on the top, and then the hook comes out from the top. But one girl had, Cheryl, if you're watching, had a Turkish spindle. So I ordered one on Etsy. This is what I got. Came with this, and it gave me an extra one of these shaft. So put this together like this. You put the shaft in. So the spindle is at the bottom heavy. So you're spinning up here. You're spinning it, drafting your fiber. The cool thing about this is you wind it on here a certain way. You go 2 over, 1 under, 2 over, 1 under. It makes this beautiful ball of yarn ready to go, so that when you take this out, you have your ball of yarn. So if you are doing singles, like you're basically going from fluff, making 1 ply yarn, a single yarn, and then you have to ply it together later, sometimes you run out, and so you have to ply it with itself. So from this way, you would have access both to the outer where you ended up, and you would have a center pull because of where you were here. So I barely played with it. I was trying to watch a video how to start your leader to get going with this. So I'm still learning, but I got this from Kraken 3D. I don't know if you can see that. It is on Etsy. Kraken 3D. And these are all 3D printed. Like I said, this is exactly what I got. And he has all different colors, both for these. For these, you can pick exactly what color you want. So I am excited to play with that more. That is all. I have made a few purchases that aren't here. I had ordered something from Kimber, the Pop-Tarts sock set, but like I said, we're doing co-hosting the make-along, and so she is sending us the colors that she dyed. So she is going to be sending that with my order I had already made. And then I also ordered a Dragon Horde yarn sock set. At the retreat, we got some coupon codes from makers that gave us coupons, and Tristan was one of them. So I took advantage of that and got a sock set, which I think I have an idea for a design. For some colorwork socks. So I'm excited about that. All right, the only other acquisitions I have gotten are from trades at the retreat. So I think I'll wait till the retreat to talk about those. So just one other quick thing. I have a couple new podcasts that are new to me that I just want to mention. The first one is The Nitty Cats, who is Julie, and she lives in Colorado, and she is delightful. The second one is A Naughty Mess, and that is Megan, and she is from Seattle, and I enjoyed both of their podcasts very much. I've watched a couple from each of them. So I will put the links to their YouTube podcasts below, so you can check them out too. All right, so the rest of this podcast, I am going to go into detail about the retreat, walk you through what we did, what it was like, things I brought home from it. So if you're not interested, I hope to see you in 2 weeks when I will be back with another podcast. Otherwise, let's continue. So I brought up the schedule so I remember the order of things. So here is our Weekend with Friends logo. And I had the pleasure of being one of the coordinators of this event. So we, Lori and I had talked about doing a retreat quite a while ago, and we've been talking about it. I feel like it's been a year ago we started. Like, what would it look like? What would we do? Would people come? And so I got to be a coordinator along with Lori and Jessa and Anna, and it was a privilege. So in case you are interested, you maybe wanted to go but didn't know what we all did, if it'd be worth it, this will kind of give you an idea, because I will tell you right now, we have dates on the calendar for next year. Tentatively, it's September 12th through the 15th. I think that's right. And so now's the time to start saving money if you think you would like to go with us. So I'm going to walk through just the events of what we did. So Thursday, us coordinators got to the event early because we had some setup. We had to get the swag bags on the table. We got the room keys and things like that all ready so people could just check in with us. And the check-in began at 4 o'clock. Dinner was on your own, so if people didn't eat before, there's a restaurant in the resort, which, by the way, if I didn't say where it was, it is Lake DeGray Resort in Bismarck, Arkansas. And it was a phenomenal resort. So Thursday night, after we just checked them in, they could go to their room, take their stuff in, and we didn't officially meet until 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, we met in one of the conference rooms. We had 3 conference rooms for the weekend. They were all right next to each other. One room was specifically for our meals that were just for us. And then the other 2 rooms where we could sit and knit, or we had our classrooms in there on Friday. We had a game night another night. So at 6 o'clock, we had a welcome reception where we basically just went over some things that you needed to know. We went through a few things that were in the grab bag to use, and we had a cast-on party. So I'm going to highlight a couple of my favorite things in the swag bag. So I just think the logo was fantastic. So here is our bag. I love it. Nice and sturdy, big. And then also with the logo, we had a t-shirt. Sorry, mine's a little wrinkly because I just washed it and I hadn't put it away yet, so it's a little wrinkly. And then we had our own bottle. And Lori went one step further. You can see my name's on the bottom of this one. So the coordinators and the 2 others that taught classes, she put their names engraved on the bottle. So my name's on there. And we got a sticker in the pack, so I put that on the back side. And it literally says, A Weekend with Friends, 2023, with my name on it. So that's all the swag with the logo. And then in the welcome was, hey, it's my pattern. My first ever design that Lori graciously encouraged me this last year to make a go at. I did a design and she purchased it for the retreat. And not only was there the pattern, but she took a skein of yarn and they were all caked up, ready to go, included the right size needles. So if people said, oh, I didn't bring anything, well, it was all good. You had the yarn, you had the needles, you had the pattern. So if this pattern interests you, it is available on Ravelry, and it is just called A Weekend with Friends Shawl. It is a 1 skein shawl pattern. So yeah, that's the stuff in the bag. There was some other, things, miscellaneous things I didn't bring over. Those are the ones I wanted to highlight. So we had a cast on party, which is essentially we sat there and cast on the shawl, or just sat there and stitched together. And it was quite surreal seeing all the women working on my pattern. So yeah, it was a strange feeling, but it was awesome. So that was it of Thursday night. Granted, every night, of course, as we knitters do, people would go wherever. There's a beautiful lobby area with like half circular couches in there. The lighting is a bit dim, but it's very comfortable and relaxing. So people were out there. People were in the conference rooms. There was benches all outside on the beautiful property. That's just kind of a given that they were everywhere. So that wrapped up Thursday. So Friday, we did breakfast vouchers. Lori decided that would be a better option than picking a time everyone had to be down for breakfast in the conference room where we had our meals. This way, you basically got a voucher. You could go to the restaurant anytime between 7 and 11 and get breakfast. They have a buffet bar, or you could order off the menu. And it was perfect. Perfect. So Friday morning, we had 2 classes going on, one in each of our rooms. So Joanne, who came from Canada to teach, she did an intro to Intarsia class. And then I did the how to ravel class, which surprisingly was the biggest class of the weekend. I was really excited because I love using all the tools in Ravelry. And I've kind of learned throughout the years and didn't realize how much I utilized it till Lori said, I think a Ravelry class would be good. And I just started jotting notes of what I use, and I realized how much. So yeah, it was really fun. The internet was a bit shoddy there. Thankfully for me teaching the class, because we had my screen where everybody could see, but a lot of the class lost internet and couldn't bring up Ravelry on their phone. Thankfully for me, it worked, because otherwise that would have been like not even a class. If I couldn't have shown Ravelry, it would have been pointless. So that was super fun. Then we had lunch in our conference room. We had our own private lunch. And then in the afternoon, we had 2 more classes. We had the Knitting Fix-It class by Jessa, and then we had the Basics of Portuguese Knitting class by Christy. So after that, it was just whatever till 5 o'clock. And everything in the weekend was optional. You didn't feel like you had to cast on my shawl. You didn't feel like you had to take a class. It was just options. We wanted it to be relaxing. If you wanted to just sit around and knit with other knitters, then you could do that. Everything was optional. So then we didn't meet back till 5 o'clock. Between 5 and 6, we had a mystery skein swap and mini skein swaps. So the mystery skein swap, you were supposed to bring one 100-gram skein of yarn. And then in our welcome packets, Lori provided a brown paper bag. So you were supposed to put it in there, mark the bag something so you know not to pick your own bag. And then we all put on the table, and Lori announced birthday months. And when your month was announced, you went up and you picked a bag. So my month was the last one to be picked, which was fine because somebody had brought one yarn. They didn't get that you were supposed to bring fingering. And so they brought a yarn. You could tell it was huge, but it was wrapped up in a paper bag or a plastic bag. And no one took it. And I didn't want her to feel bad. So I wanted to go last and pick it. And she was actually sitting at my table. And ironically enough, she picked my yarn that I brought. But I think I got the better end of the deal because I got this big chunky. I got a Cascade Eco Plus. This is 250 grams, 478 yards. And I love mustard. So I was quite happy with this trade, honestly. So it worked out perfect for me. So yeah, I was really happy with that. And then we did a mini skein trade. And how that worked is you could bring as many 20-gram minis as you like. And we all put it on the table. You have to remember how many you brought. I think I brought 5. And so then we kind of line up. And every time you go through the line, you only take 1. So it's fair that everyone gets to see. You don't just take 10. You take 1, get back in line. And we just kind of went through really quick. It went really fast. And I didn't pull those out. But I had taken a picture of making a Advent minis to work on my pattern that I'm making, and I kind of took a picture and was trying to fill in the gaps of colors that I needed for that. So that worked out really well for me. So then we had dinner in the conference room after that. And then after dinner, we had a pajama party and game night. So we went and got into our pajamas, and Lori had Hello Kitty onesie on, which was cute. And we played Fiber Feud. So I was the MC of that game. I had made up questions, wool-related, fiber-related questions, sent them out to participants, and then I had to go through and build the game. My husband helped me find the game to load into it, and he actually inserted all the questions and answers, made sure I knew how to do it, and I'm happy to say I did not mess it up, which is great. So we basically played 2 games. We didn't play the fast money round. It was just more complicated that way. We had 2 tables. We had the Arkansas Yarn table, which was Lori, Jessa, Anna, and Christy. And then we asked for volunteers, and we played 2 different games with 2 different sets of volunteers. And I'm sorry to say the Arkansas Yarn team lost both games. But it was a fun time. Everyone enjoyed it. It was a lot of work, but everyone enjoyed it, so that's good. And that was it. After that, it was just, sitting and stitching wherever. And then we get to Saturday. So Saturday, again, breakfast on our own at the restaurant. And then Saturday, we did not serve lunch. There was many people that were coming from out of state who have never been to Lori's store, and so wanted to make it available that they had free time and go to the store. So Lori, Jessa, and Anna went to the store to work all day as usual. And a lot of people went over to her store and then went to Hot Springs, went to Arkadelphia, which is the closest store from where we were at. And some just stayed on the grounds, sat and knit, took naps. It was a beautiful weather day outside. I went with Tara, who is Lori's sister, and we went out paddleboarding. I say that very loosely, though, because she brought her paddleboard and graciously shared it with me. I did stand up once and then immediately fell into the water, but I didn't care. It was so fun. The weather was perfect, and I just had so much fun kind of having some outside time with just Tara and I. So that was really nice. Everyone just kind of did what they wanted. And so we basically had free time until dinner. The one event that was on the calendar is when I did a spin-in, which essentially is like a knit night, except with spinning. So from 3 to 5, I had let people know I was going to be in a certain conference room and I was going to spin. So if you wanted to watch or you had questions or anything like that, and that's when I said, 2 of the girls sat with me specifically and wanted questions with their spindle, and I was helping them. A couple other people came in because they wanted to watch me spin on the e-spinner, so that was fun. All right, so then we had dinner in the conference room, and after dinner was the sunset stitching cruise. Again, optional, and something happened with the boat. Not beknownst to us, because there was clear communication between Lori and the man who was in charge of the stitching cruise. But somewhere they were late. But it actually worked out in the end because the sunset wasn't really going down yet. By the time they left, I think it was about 7 instead of 6:30. And I did not go on the cruise. But the pictures, I think I might ask a couple people if I can insert their pictures. Angie especially took fantastic pictures. The sunset and of the stars, it was phenomenal. I think they went out at just the right time to enjoy that. And they were out for like 40 minutes. So the park ranger who ended up taking them kind of took them out for a little bit longer. So, but yeah, I think everyone that was on there really enjoyed it. And again, the weather was perfect and the sunset was stunning. So after the stitching cruise, there was a stitch marker swap. When they were out on the cruise, Lori, of course, was out on the cruise. I was sharing a room with Lori, and I went up to the room. I wasn't feeling great. I wasn't sick per se. I just wasn't feeling great. And she got back and asked if I was going to the stitch marker swap. And I did not make stitch markers. So I'm like, no, I didn't make any, and I'm not feeling great. And I just want to sit here in the bed in my pajamas. But everyone that made stitch markers knew how many people were going to be there, which was 35. And so they made enough to give to everyone, even if you didn't make any. So Lori came back to the room with my set of stitch markers. So can't really go through all of them, but you can kind of see some, including Sydney Fowler. She made earrings. Aren't those cute? So yeah, so that was super sweet. So I have a bunch of stitch markers from the swap. And then it was sit and stitch. Like I said, I wasn't there for most of that. By the time they left on the cruise, I was out. And I think it was nice throughout the weekend that there was, even as a coordinator, I didn't know how busy I would be. I knew with Saturday, them going back to the store, I felt like, okay, one of the coordinators need to be around in case there's any problems or questions or whatever. I felt like I needed to be seen and available. But like I said, I went out paddleboarding. Friday, after I took my class and after I had lunch, I went in the room. I didn't take a nap. Like I needed some like downtime from the socializing of the class. So there was plenty of time. One of the girls I talked to who came from Texas, I asked how she was enjoying herself. And she's like, it's been awesome. There's just been enough stuff. And she's like, I've taken a nap every day, which I love. And I'm like, that's awesome. So I felt like the pacing was really, really good. Like, again, everything was optional too. So if you didn't want to go, you didn't have to. So yeah, Saturday night was just sit and stitch. Sunday morning was breakfast on your own. And then we had like a farewell at 10 a.m. with some door prizes. The opening night, we had a get to know you bingo where everybody had something on the bingo and you had to find who was that person. It made everybody go around and talk to everybody else. So for those that filled that out, they got entered for door prizes. So, and that was it. Sunday, I left with Lori. We were the last ones to leave, and I felt like I left right after 11 a.m. So I was home at 12:30 on Sunday. Yeah, it was good. Oh, one other thing I want to show. There was a girl from California who just kind of happened across the retreat and signed up and came. And she was so super sweet. And she bought shawl pins as gifts for all of us coordinators. So I don't know if she's watching the podcast, but she obviously knew I was a huge music fan. So this is the one she got me. Isn't it cute? So it just twists and you can put it through your shawl and secure it to hold it in place. That was so, so sweet. So yeah, that was a mouthful, but it was just the loveliest, loveliest weekend. I know originally we had talked that the aim was to have 50 at the retreat, but other people have noticed too on the kind of feedback we're getting is that everyone liked the size, the smaller size, because the whole idea is weekend with friends is that you can get to know. We definitely didn't want it to be all four of us that were coordinating it, we didn't want it to feel like we were just in our own little clique. The whole idea is to meet new people and make everyone feel welcome. So I tried to like sit with different people at meals and get to know different ones that were visiting, and not sit by the same people if I went out on the couch, and was trying to talk to all the people and really get to know them. I'm sorry if I mentioned you and forgot your name, because I'm just horrible at it. But I enjoyed talking to lots of different people. We had people from Texas and Georgia and California, and I feel like there was another state besides Canada. Well, Christy's from Illinois. I feel like I'm missing one. But it was really good. I feel like the size was nice. It wasn't so big where you felt like you couldn't visit with each person. So it was just super friendly and warm, and hopefully everyone else felt that way about it. So yeah. Well, like I said, next year is on the book. It's going to be like a week later in September than we had this year. So if you're interested, save your pennies now. We'd love to see you there. Those that went this year will get first dibs to book for next year first. A lot of people said that they would absolutely are going to be back next year, no matter what the dates are. So that's pretty awesome that I'll get to see those women that are not close by next year. So that's all I have this week. Thanks for staying to the end. If you did, I just feel really happy about that weekend. It was very, very joyous, and I loved getting to meet all the women there. It was really good. And man, because Stephen was there too, so he was the one man at the retreat. But yeah, I enjoyed everyone there. So, well, that's all for this week. I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Bye.